It's true, cars are made better, but because they're still made of steel, they have thousands of spot welds. There's a lot of crevices and tight seamed areas, so what you need to do is you need to get a product in there to protect them and drive out the moisture, set up a thin barrier so that it repels any type of moisture. The other thing is that we have a tremendous amount of salt that's being used on our roads annually, so a lot of salt accelerates the rusting process. So that's really why we need to have a product such as Rust Check in the marketplace. A Rust Check is a chemical compound. It's a rust inhibitor primarily. It's a lubricant. It has a penetrant in it. It also has capillary action or a creeping agent in it so that it spreads throughout the internal part of panels. Then we have a secondary product which is called Coat and Protect. Coat and Protect is a gel formed of Rust Check. So that's mainly for the undersides of the vehicles, where the Rust Check fluid product is for the internal panels of the upper side of the vehicle. Rust Check's an annual process, and the reason an annual process is so effective is because if you try and do something once in the lifetime of the vehicle, it's just not strong enough. First of all, most lifetime type applications are sealants. They're thick. They won't get into the door seamed area or the tight seams and rockers. So what ends up happening is they eventually get brittle, they crack, they peel, they allow moisture in. Where Rust Check never hardens. It's a very thin product, so it's going to get in between any metal-to-metal composition areas, any seamed areas. And what's going to happen with Rust Check is it's going to penetrate into those areas. But the fact is that if you do it annually, it'll continue to keep the moisture driven out from those tight areas, or those critical areas.
The best time to Rust Check a vehicle, I would say during the summer. Gives it the time to creep in all the areas before the first salt hits. Just gives it enough time to penetrate everywhere.
So as far as a rusty car, a lot of people come in with an older winter type car only, and they get them sprayed because what Rust Check does, even if that car is starting to rust, it'll penetrate the existing rust and almost neutralize it. So it'll basically hold it where it is, and it won't let it advance much further than it does. So my question to the customer is always, how long do you want to keep that vehicle? If you want to keep that vehicle for another 5 years, in most cases the answer is as long as I can. So I said then absolutely get Rust Check, because what happens is it will extend the life of that vehicle, no matter how rusty it is at that point in time. Well, with the vintage cars, even if they're sitting in a garage that doesn't have climate control, you're getting dampness, you're getting condensation on the underside and the door panels. And believe it or not, the vehicle will still rust even in those circumstances, even if you're not driving around in a salt-sprayed road. But the fact of the matter is that if you're storing it, it's great to do the vintage vehicle, even if you're doing the critical areas. Store the vehicle, and then in the spring you can wash the vehicle up and take it right out. It looks brand new again.